Yeah, so believe me, the reaction that you had when you saw the title and thumbnail of this video was the same reaction that I had when I saw the tweets and the articles going out there and talking about this narrative. Today we're talking about Edmonton Oilers forward Vasili Podkolzin. A guy that I think a lot of Oilers fans really came to appreciate over the course of the past calendar year. Now, I absolutely love this player. Am I going to hyperbolize his future in the same way we're going to be talking about today? Probably not, but I absolutely love this player. He was a former Vancouver Canuck. He was drafted 10th overall by Vancouver in 2019. And the interesting part about Podkolzin is, when you watch the Lego Rocks 99 draft reaction to Vasili Podkolzin back in 2019, it is so obvious from my face that I was not happy with the draft pick. Like, I was saying the entire video, I wanted Caulfield, let's get Matt Boldy, like, I was okay with any of those NTDP guys, but when the Canucks said Podkolzin, I was shocked. The Canucks drafted this guy. He was supposed to be a top 3 pick because earlier on in that draft season, he was super productive in a tournament, but then he didn't really sustain that level of production throughout, and it's why he dipped all the way to being ranked 11th by McKeen's, 8th by Bob McKenzie. He was still ranked near the top of the draft by some of these outlets, though, 5th and 4th by elite prospects and future considerations. But as Podkolzin's career continued on in Vancouver as a Canucks prospect, you started to note that this guy just did not get much production at all. He was bouncing around from team to team to team, he was never really given a proper home, and by the time he did make the Vancouver Canucks full-time, a lot of fans were saying, all right, finally, this guy's finally going to get full-time hockey playing minutes with one team, and he's going to develop, and that's what he did. In his first season in the NHL, Podkolzin had 26 points in 79 games, 14 goals in a first season there. That's really good, honestly. Like, for a guy who, back in that time frame, was 21, a lot of Canucks fans were like, yeah, this guy's the bee's knees. He's going to continue to produce, and he's going to get better. But inevitably, he ended up not really being the best fit under the Rick Tocchet system, and he had 7 points in 39 games in 22-23. Then he had 2 points in 19 games in 23-24. He played 2 games in the playoffs, which was great, but he spent the majority of his season in Abbotsford, and he just wasn't a Rick Tocchet guy. Tocchet didn't really trust this player. Even though, stylistically, I think, when I think of Podkolzin and the wrecking ball-like qualities that he has, the hard forecheck, the heart and soul gameplay, you would think that Podkolzin is the kind of player that would excel the most under a Rick Tocchet system, but the problem with Pods and the Tocchet style was that Podkolzin just really was not confident. He wouldn't take that extra step or make that extra pass or something. He would always do the safe thing. And it didn't really put him in a good spot in the Tocchet system anyway, which is why the Canucks ended up trading him to Edmonton for a 4th-round pick, which was then sent back to Edmonton for Evander Kane. So essentially it was Podkolzin for Kane. But Podkolzin had a really good season with the Oilers, 24 points in 82 games played, and he played somewhat with Leon Draisaitl, which is kind of ridiculous. He also had 10 points in 22 playoff games, and he had scored the final goal for the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals in Game 6. Podkolzin cemented himself as a very underrated pickup, and with his half-a-point-a-game status in the playoffs, we are now starting to see takes like this take center stage and be tossed out there online. B. Surlock went out there and posted this tweet earlier yesterday, and it kind of went viral. I wanted to talk about it here. I know people have enthusiasm for Mangiapane, Frederick, Savoy, and Isaac Howard. I like them all. I still think Vasili Podkolzin has a path to having a breakout year. Early Zach Hyman is who he reminds me of. If Podkolzin can improve some of his puck skills, 40 points is not out of the question. And that is so interesting. Are we really going to start comparing Podkolzin to Zach Hyman now? A 50-goal scorer for the Edmonton Oilers? A guy whom his presence was severely missed in the finals this previous campaign? Let's go out there and read some of the replies. Podkolzin is Puljujärvi 2.0. This is a win, however, he'll never be a goal scorer. If he could pop in 20 goals, he would be a perfect player for Draisaitl. This was a great trade by Bowman. Podkolzin could turn into a great two-way winger who scores 35 to 40 points a year. Another thing we know is how hard Podkolzin works at improving his game. He's hungry and it's paid off with Draisaitl. I too believe that 25-26 will be a Podkolzin breakthrough. The season's only 2 months away, fellas. Go Oilers, go. Big fan of Podkolzin's game. JT Miller took him under his wing in Vancouver. I couldn't believe the Canucks traded him to Edmonton, although it does seem like he needs a good number of games with the Oilers' top guns as he has confidence issues. That is absolutely true. Confidence is the name of the game for Vasili Podkolzin. You get him feeling good about his game, you get him feeling like he can take over the world, then he'll start to put on display the blistering shot that he has, the fancy puck skills and the passing that he has. This guy has some really underrated playmaking and a nose for the net when his head is in the game. He just doesn't exhibit that all the time. I like Podkolzin too, but get real on the scoring breakout. He scored 8 goals in 82 games last season and spent some time with one of the game's elite passers in Draisaitl. There's nothing in his background to suggest he'll ever score 20 goals in the NHL. And just to put the cherry on top, let's go out there and compare Podkolzin to Zach Hyman, because that's whom this tweet publisher is comparing Podkolzin to. Early career Zach Hyman. Now here's the thing. Podkolzin right now is 24 years old. So let's look at his 23-year-old year. He had 24 points in 82 games played. Zach Hyman had 37 points in 59 AHL games when he was Podkolzin's age. Hyman had 6 points in 16 Toronto Maple Leafs games, 4 goals, and 2 assists. When Hyman was 24, this is when he had himself that first full season in the National Hockey League. He had 28 points and 10 goals in 82 games. Podkolzin is yet to play his 24-year-old NHL campaign. So, I guess you could make the argument that says, oh yeah, well, Hyman was playing in the NCAA, and then he had this development in the AHL, and that's why his first full NHL season was not until he was 24. Podkolzin has already played a bunch of NHL hockey at 23, heading into 24. So, you could very well make that debate that a progression like Hyman's is possible, but the highs are so high. Do you ever see Podkolzin getting 80 points in a season, 50 goals in a season? Hyman dipped this previous year to only 44 points and 27 goals, but still, 27 goals. Is Podkolzin capable of that? Do you agree with this assessment here that Podkolzin could be that next Zach Hyman-like asset? Did the Vancouver Canucks give this guy away for a draft pick that became Evander Kane? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Vasili Podkolzin and his overall progression. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.